Hello, this is TJ with Netpicks.com. Welcome to this week's Trade of the Week. We're going to talk about a long trade setting up here on Ma Bell on AT&T, symbol T. But before we get into this in detail, I want to review a couple active trades that are currently in progress. A few weeks back, I called this trade on the USDCAD. The entry was here at 26.36, and our first objective was to get to this little dot right here. That's called the money management level, and it was able to get there, and as a result, the stop can be moved from down here all the way up to here, locking in about 30 or so pips, 33 pips, and then, of course, minus spread costs. And the prices continued to move higher, and now we're getting what's a pretty healthy pullback. This is to be expected. Worst case scenario is it'll come down and stop out, and the trade will be over. It'll make 30 pips or so. Of course, what we're hoping is that it'll find its footing and some support and continue to move up. The first target is in sight up here. There's some additional targets above. And if you want to get the details of this trade, you'll find them on our Trading Tips blog, which I will put the URL in the comments section. So this trade is moving along nicely. It's always great when we can get to a position where we have no risk on the trade, and then it's just a matter of how much we're going to make. It's the best place to be. In the Spotlight Power Trader, which is a strategy being used here, has that built into its DNA. Its goal is to get us to a risk-free position as quickly as possible while giving the trade the room it needs to develop. So you can see that even though this trade triggered in and we got in sync with it a week and a half or 2 weeks later, it took a while for it to develop. It has to get all the way to this little dot before we start moving our stop. And then for last week's Trade of the Week, I called an option trade, actually. And at the time, it was where this arrow is. I wanted to see the price break below this level. And 2 days ago, it did. And so if the call was if the price were to stab down to $12.09, that we would then be interested in buying put options. And so a good put option that I thought one should buy would be the May 13 put in USO. Some of you may want to go with the June put, and that's fine also. When you go further out, you might not get quite as much profit potential if it moves to its target quickly, but if it takes longer, then the June put looks better and better. And then also, if it does come up and stop out, it is possible that you could sell the put back for a higher premium and you lose less. So, I just kind of split the difference and felt that the May 13 put was a good choice. Now, I do have to say it did barely trigger in and then it's come up a little. And it is possible that we will have to stop and reverse. You'll see a long trade set up here. And we have to pay attention to that. So instead of the stop being way up here, we now have to move the stop. And what we're going to do is we're going to move it a little bit above 1261. I'm going to say 1266. Actually, because 64 is the high here. So I want to see the price break above that by a couple ticks. And so if this stock moves up to 1266, then if you're in this trade, you're going to want to sell those puts. We'll take a small loss on those. It's about 50% of what the original stop is, which is always good. And then you can consider getting long. I would say you can go with May calls, and you can go with the May 12, the $12 calls. All right, so we'll get slightly in the money, right? So if the stock gets to 1266, get out of your puts and get into calls, $12 calls for May. Okay, and then you can see right there, if you want to write these numbers down, these are your targets, 1290. Now, 1290 might be too soon to take profit. It's actually a very small trade. So I would say we're going to be going to target 2, 1310, 1330, and 1450 with a stop at 1208. 1208, and actually we're going to put the stop at 1207, one tick below. All right, but we don't know if that's going to happen. If the price starts pushing lower, then this order will be canceled. Okay, so we just have to be on our toes and aware that this could change, and we could go from short to long here. We just have to let the price action kind of dictate what we do. All right, so that's what's going on with this USO trade. So now let's get into this week's trade of the week. So this is a brand new trade plan. It was just put on the Spotlight Power Trader Owners Club, and there's a trade that happened, and I want to get in sync with it because of the fact, like we've seen in the other two trades, where the trade triggered in and then it's kind of developed a bit, and now we have a chance to get in on the entry. But we have a little more information. Make this bigger so you can see, because it did trigger in, it came up, maybe found a little resistance in here and came down. Now it's coming up again. So if you're aggressive, you can get in right at the entry, but that's below its 200 moving average. I want to see it break through the 200 moving average and then get above this little spike here. Okay, and that spike is at 37.64. So if the stock gets to 37.66, then we're going to buy calls. So we're going to buy slightly in the money calls. So the entry here is at 37.23. So you can buy June 37 calls or May 37 calls. I like June because these trades could take some time, and I want to give us plenty of time. You could even go with a call that's greater, that's more in the money. You could buy 36 calls as well. Okay, they'll cost a little bit more, but you'll get a little more bang for your buck, both if the trade wins or loses. So either one are good choices. I would go with the June 37 call or the June 36 call. Okay, you could go with May also. Those would cost less, but if the trade takes longer, then time decay could become an issue. That's why I like to go further out. All right, so anyway, that's it. And then the stop will be at 34, we'll call it 34.89. We'll go 1 cent below this 34.90 number here. I always like to get off the 10s. So 34.89. And then our money management level will be at 38.56. So if the stock price gets to 38.56, then we're going to move our stop to 3 ticks above the unadjusted entry. So stops will move to 37.26. So we'll still have a little bit of risk on the trade, but we will start trailing the orange line after that, and we will take 25% of our position off at 39.23, another 25% off at 43.43, another 25% off at 45.11. All the while, we'll be trailing up, and if the trailer gets hit, of course, then we'll just liquidate the whole position. All right, so that's the plan. And you can double check this on the blog, on the Traders Tip blog, where you can read about this trade and get the updates for the other two trades that I just showed you a moment ago. All right, so that is this week's trade of the week. This is TJ with Netpicks.com Inner Circle, and I hope that if you like these trades that you will give us a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss subsequent videos that will be forthcoming each week. We'll be having a trade of the week, or most weeks. It is possible there won't be a trade, and that's just how markets are sometimes, but there typically is. And I also want to encourage you to explore some of our past videos, because anything that you find that will help you prosper and succeed as a trader is good, and that's what we want. So thanks again for your time, everybody. I'll see you on the next one.